Chapter 16. You have cost me everything. I sent 2 more of my gang over to that cabin with that so-called werewolf, and they haven't called in yet. Bo said, pushing Zoey to the edge of the bed face first. After he finished, he left her leaning forward in that same position. She heard the motorcycle start up and the roar of his bike leaving, before she stood weak and bruised to go to the shower. It had been like this since he so-called rescued her from Tracker's cabin in the woods. He thought of all kinds of ways to embarrass and abuse her. First he got drunk and then he could come back with a couple of friends, but lately he brought his uncle in to have her. He had said it was a small price to pay for having to dispose of 3 bodies. And that she had brought this on herself. Zoey knew that if she didn't get out of there, she would go crazy. She wondered what had become of Tracker. If ever she needed anyone, she needed him to take her from this place. When Tracker and Thorn rolled into town, Tracker knew where to find Bo. There was only one bar, and he would find him there. He stopped his motorcycle on the outskirts of town near a 4-way stop. Go to the trailer park and get Zoey. I'm going to take care of Bo once and for all. How will I know which place is hers? Look for the one where half of it is rust and the top is yellow. There's a dog sitting on the steps. How do you know this? That's how she described it when I first met her. She wanted me to take her with me, and I told her it was impossible. I said I was engaged to be married. It wasn't a lie. I know, but I had no intentions of marrying Sadia or being anything to Zoey. She just looked like a lost lamb to me. You know, the ones where we killed their parents but left them in the forest to fend for themselves. Thorn shook his head in agreement. He knew all too well. But it was food, and it was life or death for the werewolf. Fresh meat was their staple. It was what sustained their strong bodies, and without killing to eat they would die. Pick her up and I'll meet you at the cabin. Take her there and take care of her. What about you? Oh, you know me. It will take a lot to kill me. Only 1 bullet in the right place, Thorn said. Be careful. Tracker took off going east on the road, and Thorn went south down a dirt gravel road. Thorn passed the restaurant where Zoey worked, and took the road up to a park with 3 other trailers and 1 RV. Thorn stopped the bike and looked around. He spotted the trailer right away. Leaving the bike parked in a low brush, he strode up to the rusty trailer with the yellow top. There was a light on, and the curtain wasn't drawn completely. From what he saw, it was only a female standing unbuttoning a sheer dress. He looked down to see her panties had been torn off of her, and were lying on the floor. The bed wasn't made. 1 pillow lay on the bed and 1 on the floor, but it looked as if it could have been made, but for someone pulling half the covers off in a hurry. When Zoey dropped her dress, she turned around. And that's when Thorn saw her. Her face pale but her lips full with a natural red tint. A little bow in her mouth. Her hair short and blonde, cut like a boy. Almost a buzz cut but for its unevenness. Her breasts swollen and hard. Her nipples splendid rosy peaks. His nature rising, and he couldn't hold back the insatiable desire he too held for her. She saw his eyes and she put her hands to her mouth. Thorn thought it was because she thought he was a peeping Tom, but then she ran to the door. Come in, Tracker, she whispered, her eyes glowing with relief. Zoey thought he was Tracker. Thorn stepped inside and the light caught his face, and then she could see that although he resembled Tracker, he wasn't him. They stood gazing at each other. Thorn looking her up and down. She stood there naked before she realized that she was naked, and that she had never met him. I'm Zoey. Yes, I know who you are. Tracker sent me here to get you. Is he all right? Thorn, mesmerized by her beauty and erotic body, stood in one spot glaring at her. Is he all right? She repeated. He's fine. Are you all right? It's nothing I can't handle. I'm used to this. It took time for her to get. She doesn't think about it anymore. Thorn walked close to Zoey, and he saw the print of a hand across her face. He moved to her and kissed her face. Then he kissed her lips. His kiss was soft and loving. Not like Tracker, but Tracker's kisses were softer than Bo's. But Thorn's kiss had meaning in it when he kissed her. And she felt it, and she felt his gentleness. Tracker was sometimes gentle with her, but he could be rough and unfeeling, but Zoey knew that there was another kind of man too. One that would be gentle and loving with her. And now she had found him. "Are you a werewolf like your brother?" "He told you?" Thorn said, surprised. His eyes lit up and he raised an eyebrow. "Yes, and I saw him. I saw what he can do." "Get dressed." "Why?" "Because I want you. You're coming with me. I mean with me and Tracker." She stared at him. "Get dressed," he repeated. Zoey trotted off to the shower, stopped, and slanted her head. "Go. Hurry, we don't have much time." Zoey took a quick shower, and she pulled a dress out of the closet. "Wear jeans, I'm on a motorcycle." She smiled at him and rushed to pull up her jeans and throw on a shirt. Thorn gazed at her. "I don't wear bras." That made his dick quiver at the thought. "Don't take anything with you. No clothes. Nothing. I'll get you everything you need. We're going to Mexico." Zoey shot him a small smile. She had never been to Mexico, or anywhere out of her small town. Maybe this will work out, she thought. I have two of the most handsome men alive, and they are werewolves, and this one is gentle, she thought. Maybe the two of them together can protect me from Bo and his friends, she thought. Thorn helped her down the stairs when Zoey was ready, and she saw Bo's dog, a mixed pit bull. She hated to leave him because she was the only one to feed him. But maybe the neighbors would take pity on him and take care of him. She passed her hand over his large head, and he knelt at her feet moaning. Maybe he knew she was leaving, or maybe because he sensed a higher order of dog standing next to her. Climbing onto the bike, Thorn sat first and took Zoey's hand and helped her on behind him. She looked up at him standing, as handsome and beautiful as Tracker. "Will you buy me a dog?" she asked. "I'll get you everything your heart's desire." He smiled, and he climbed on the motorcycle with Zoey. She lay her head on his back and he relaxed and zoomed down the road. They headed back to the cabin where Tracker had said to meet him. He followed direction and didn't go after Tracker. Tracker wanted to handle Bo on his own, but Thorn felt it his duty to go after him, but he wouldn't because it was more important to take care of Zoey first. Zoey hugged Thorn around his waist. He liked the feel of her on his bike riding with her arms around him. He liked everything about Zoey. He had heard about love at first sight, and he had found it. He knew it when he first laid eyes on her, and the feeling he got deep down inside. There was no way to explain it. His father said that he would know his mate once he met her. He would be willing to die for her, and give her everything he had to make her happy, and that was how he felt about Zoey. They didn't stop. He just kept riding into the night with Zoey not complaining. She appeared to like him. It was the way she lay her head on his back, and he could feel her breath. His heart hammered each time she changed position. He had it bad for her, and then he watched up and saw the full moon. During the full moon, it would be worse. His desires would be insatiable, and he didn't know how to control himself. He didn't want to control himself. He was sure Tracker would understand. Maybe they could share her. After all, she was Tracker's girl, and should he ask Tracker first and risk him saying no? "Are you tired?" he asked Zoey as they pulled up in front of the cabin. He let her off first, and then he turned off the motor. "No. I'm too excited to be tired." She looked up at Thorn, waiting for him to say something, and when he didn't, she tried to make an awkward moment more comfortable for the both of them. They felt the pull between the two of them. They didn't want to be dishonest to Tracker, but there was nothing they could do. They felt the pull. Was it the moon? Thorn questioned. He would know tonight and tomorrow when it wasn't so strong. Well, I'm back again, she said with a small nervous smile, looking around, remembering her last visit. Thorn strode with her to the house. It was a natural walk, as if they were going for a stroll in the park. He held her hand and she didn't protest. He opened the door and closed it behind them, and she headed to the bedroom. He watched at her. Her body smooth, her ass firm and just right for the taking. His thoughts held at bay until next time. Until he could make his case to track her. Are you hungry? No. I can't eat a thing. He followed her. He watched at her as she pulled her shirt off, and her breasts and her nipples stood erect and inviting. Zoey wanted to thank him for rescuing her, and the only way she knew how was to pay him. Not with money, she had none. Not with friendship, she wasn't a friend, but she could pay him with her body because she had that in abundance, and she knew how to use it. Her body had gotten her in trouble early when she was in high school and a teenager. That's when she first met Beau, and now he proved to be the biggest mistake of her life. Instinctively she knew that sleeping with Thorn wouldn't be a mistake. It wasn't with Tracker either. These were men who could protect her and provide the sex she craved, and who wouldn't punish her by giving her to his friends and family. Zoey wanted to be with Tracker and Thorn. They were family and brothers, and she wanted to be a part of their family. And now when she would sleep with the both of them, it was because she wanted to. Watching Zoey's movement of her body as she shimmied out of her jeans and let fall past her waist, he couldn't control his desire for her. Rushing to her, he went to his knees, helping her take off her boots and jeans. She stood half naked in front of him. Still on his knees, this beautiful werewolf kissed her stomach, and she held him around his shoulders and raked her fingers through his coarse dark hair, and he lay his face on her stomach and kissed her hips, smelling and enjoying the fragrance of her skin. A human smell. A fresh smell. Not the smell of a shifter whose body is covered with hair. He pulled her panties down as he locked eyes with her. She felt the adoration she didn't feel with Tracker. Tracker's lovemaking was rough, but it was equally gentle. It was the feel she got when Thorn touched her. The feel of his hands caressing her skin. It soothed her. I want you, he whispered. His voice needy and each word smooth and soft. He stood and took her in his arms and held her to him. When he lay her in the bed, he didn't drop her there like Tracker, but he placed her down like a piece of fine glass he was afraid of breaking. She sat up with him standing in front of her. Reaching, she unzipped his jeans. You don't have to do this if you don't want, he said. Her eyes and mouth giving him a small smile. I want to do that, he said, pulling her from him, with her lying easily on her back. He didn't take a moment to watch at her beautiful, flawless skin. He could do that later. He stood before ripping his pants off with one movement of his hand, and he was leaning over her naked. I'm here for you. Whatever you need, I won't complain, she said. Thorn didn't know how to respond to her, but he knew he could never leave her. He wanted Zoey. He didn't stop to think about what Tracker would say or do. The moon was full, and his desire insatiable. And he had to satisfy himself now, because he had never wanted anything and anyone the way he wanted Zoey.